Friends, did you know that over 60% of your first-time clients are never coming back to your business again? They are going to your competition. That is so painful, and it doesn't have to be that way. That's where Maya comes in. Maya is the ultimate marketing software for the beauty and wellness industry. We have a proprietary funnel utilizing special algorithms to help connect the right consumers with the right providers at your business. So what does this mean? This means Maya helps you get higher spending clients you love to work with who stay the long haul. If you want to increase your revenue, increase your client count, increase your average ticket, and increase your new client retention, then you need Maya. Go to the link in our show notes to get your demo of Maya set up. Or go to joinmaya, that's MYA.com, joinmaya.com, and see why over 500,000 consumers have trusted Maya and the businesses that we work with to find their perfect beauty and wellness pro. We have your back, we always will, and we promise you will love Maya. Thank you for joining me. This is Katie Whitledge with the Beyond the Technique podcast. Free your trapped cash. How many of you look at the shelves in your salon or your back bar? Holy crap. Do you need that much? Do you even know? I ran an inventory report once and it was over $60,000. I don't think I actually needed that much back bar on the shelves. And that, my friends, that's killing our profit margin. So we have a very special guest here today. We have first-time guest Will Simpson here. He is the head of partnerships for Vish. Vish is your favorite all-encompassing back bar system that will help you waste less product, but actually increase your profit margin because you're going to really know your inventory, how much color you're using. You're going to properly charge your customers for everything. Like it is, I know that those of you who are listening that love Vish, you get it. Those of you who have never heard about it, today you're in for a treat. We're going to talk about the future of your salon, which is all dependent on how well you manage the numbers. And this is one major area that you can perfect to increase the amount of profit you get to put in your pocket. So without further ado, help me welcome Will Simpson. Welcome to Beyond the Technique.
Thank you, Katie. I understand this is episode 576. Is that correct?
572.
Oh, 572. Well, so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
The pleasure's mine, and it's been a joy getting to know you. You are an incredible person, and you really enjoy helping educate owners and connecting people within the industry. And I would just love if you don't mind sharing, how did you get specifically into the beauty industry? How did that start for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So the year was 2010. I was watching the news over the summer when the BP oil spill had happened. And for those who are too young to remember that, it was a really dark time. I can't even remember how many hundreds of thousands of barrels of oil a day were spilling out into the Gulf of Mexico. But it was like nothing we'd ever really seen before. And I remember feeling really helpless as a younger person that was, interested in the environment. And then I heard from my cousin that his best friend had this recycling company that worked in the beauty industry, and they were shipping hair down to the Gulf of Mexico to soak up the oil from the spill. And I was like, that's crazy. I want to hear more. So anyway, fast forward, a couple of weeks, and I heard about this company called Green Circle Salons that was recycling basically everything, repurposing hair for a number of different opportunities like oil spill cleanup, managing used hair color, all of these really innovative solutions that really spoke to me as somebody with an interest in sustainability. And I thought, that's an industry that I would love to explore. I would love to just kind of, sink my teeth into. So at the time, I think there were about 40 salons in the greater Toronto area that were doing this. And it was really just kind of like a great idea that needed to expand. And I spent the next 12 years with that organization, really bringing the sustainability mission to the North American beauty industry. And in that time, what I learned was, as much as I loved sustainability, I was even more passionate about the hairstylist and salons being successful. And so after the COVID lockdown, coming back, I realized that salons were struggling to keep their doors open, let alone be green at the same time. And I was curious to see what other opportunities existed to help salons in this respect. And that's when I landed on this great company, Vish, another Canadian company that has really dedicated itself to making salons profitable while also helping them to conserve. So it spoke to me from that kind of environmental place, but also understanding that if we can address the challenge of hair color waste in our industry, using smart technology, we can make salons so much more profitable while also ensuring that at the end of the day, we have less to take care of for the planet.
Well, for everybody listening, and by the way, I love where your heart is at. I love that's how you were moved into this industry, and that not just falling in love with the environment, but like the people who care about the environment, and then falling in love with the people in this industry. It's just so awesome. I had no idea that that's how it started for you. So, for people listening who don't really know what Vish is, but they do hair color in their salon, tell us, what is Vish and why has this been a complete technology game changer for our industry?
Yeah. So Vish is the smartest way to manage your color business. It's a smart scale solution, a Bluetooth wireless scale that pairs to our color bar app, which is available on iPhone, Android. It's also available as an iPad in your color bar. And really, this color bar app ensures that not only are you properly formulating every time for the guest and able to mix down to 1/10 of a gram that formulation, but also it ensures that there's no waste when that guest comes back. So what we do is you would formulate your service the way you normally do, but at the very end of the service, you put the bowl back on the scale. And so whatever's left in that color bowl, that waste gets removed from the formula before it gets stored. Now, Vish is also integrated with all of the top point of sale systems. So we can pull in your appointment book. So as soon as you start your day, who's coming in. You've got their formulas already preset in our system. There's a consultation tool element that is available, so you can literally build the formula on your mobile device as you're working with your guest. But most importantly, it ensures that you're also properly charging for that service. So if, for example, a guest comes in and they've stretched out their appointment and you need to mix a little bit more color, or if a guest comes in and you realize they don't need a partial highlight, they need a full highlight, it allows you to update the service and ensure that you're charging correctly for exactly what's being dispensed, which ultimately means that the stylist is earning a higher commission, but also that the salon is properly charging for what that guest is coming in for. So not only does it make a more profitable salon, but it also ensures that a consistent guest experience. They're not being charged for an extra bowl one appointment and then missing it on the next appointment. We're making sure that all of the toners and treatments that are being performed are always added on. And this is huge because about 20% of services walk out the door uncharged for. So if you think about December, busiest month of the year, it's really easy for you to do something at the bowl and then forget, oh shoot, I gave her that toner and I never told the front desk. Vish seamlessly communicates all of that information to the front desk to make sure that it ends up on the ticket. And then lastly, we've got this really comprehensive dashboard, and it's every single data point of what's been mixed in Vish by stylist, by guest, by appointment, so that you can see all of the forensic data around your color bar that previously you would have missed. So I think most owners know intuitively, like, yeah, if she's really good with mixing color, she's really heavy-handed. but we don't necessarily know what the difference is in our cost per application from one stylist to the next. With Vish, we can see on average, this person mixes an extra half ounce for a retouch. We can see what that costs. We can see what the waste is inside of each of these appointments, and across, all service categories for the entire salon. And then most importantly, inventory management, making sure that the salon always has what it needs and is never overstocked in product, so that ultimately, whether the guest is coming in and changing up their appointment, their service, or the stylist just wants to try something different, we know that the right product is always going to be on the shelves and available to them.
And the wrong ones don't need to be there, right? So we're going to get into that. So first off, I love that this still ties to where your heart is at, because when you help eliminate the amount of waste, you're really caring for the environment in a more significant way. And by the way, these are chemicals. So it's, who knows what
Exactly.
this is doing to our soil and all the things. So I love that that is a major part of this mission. But let's talk money. I think it's really painful. I've never actually done inventory. I have
Good for
people for that
you.
who are far more patient than I am. But if everybody's watching, you can watch today's episode on YouTube and see the faces behind the names. But imagine me holding up a color can. Our inventory every week, we do what's called touch can, which they'd have to like lift out and feel how much is left of stuff and know what to go order. How exhausting, how much time does this take, especially for salons that may not have people there to do this task during unopened hours? So if you can imagine, it's open, it's chaotic, there's things going on all around you. This becomes a daunting, fast paced, it's hard to accomplish, and user error is a big thing. So I'd imagine with this inventory management system, and you can tell me if I'm getting this kind of right or not, that you kind of do the hard work once. You put in everything that's on your shelves the one time and know what amounts are there. And then going forward, there's a simple way of saying, hey, we're going to automate your orders for you. We're going to tell you what you can get rid of that you haven't used. It's like your closet. If you haven't worn this in a year, donate it, get rid of it, right? These old clothes, like the same for our back bar. And by the way, I see the potential of like, I just bought this a few months ago and we haven't gone through it. Not only could I could maybe return this and get some money back and put it towards products we do use more often. So tell me a bit, am I hitting this on the head? Am I visualizing how this is going to function? Because I think it's really powerful and very cool.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. So right now, salons will typically fill whatever their color bar space is, so that it looks good. And it's like you said about your closet. You
The
kind of,
law of the back.
it's like you never have room left on the pole. You just kind of fill it so it's full. But the reality is there are shades that you're never going to go through five of them. So why are you putting in so many, into your director? So with Vish, it's really ensuring that you always have what you need. You don't have to be sitting on, 12 months worth of 9N if really you just need enough stock to get through the next month. So ensuring that your cash flow is really freed up, to be investing in all of the other things that are coming your way over the next month, and really also ensuring that you're never running out of that product. We know that one of the number one uh, PO buttons for stylists is when they don't have what they need in stock. And so they have to either try and figure something out on the fly or go back and tell their guests, yeah, we can't do that for you today. So imagine if you never had to run out to the store last minute to pick up that product. You never have to worry about reaching out to your rep and asking for, a rush order. Everything that you need is in stock, but just the right amount, so that again, you're not putting out a year's worth of cost just for those products to sit on the shelves.
I think it'd be interesting, and this may not be a layer available yet based on, the data that you're going to be getting is going to be awesome, because I would love for a future goal to educate owners to say, hey, if you have a team of 7 stylists, here's really the optimal expenditure on back bar color. And especially if you use this line, here's what we see across the board. Because so many owners are doing, like, let's say I open a new salon, I do that open inventory order. And because we are consumers ourselves, we probably buy the biggest, fanciest package possible. Like you said, we're getting all these products that we'll never use and not enough of what we probably will. And then it sits there. It would be cool if there could be a curated thing like, hey, we're now going to give you the insights over thousands of salons to say, here are the best practices for your inventory, and then automate it all. It eliminates time spent. There's so many perks of that. I think it's genius.
Well, and imagine if we could look forward in your books and say, you've got this color correction coming in, but you don't have the product you need. So we're going to recommend
Brilliant.
that you procure this product. Or here's a new product that you may be interested in, or a discontinued product and an alternative. All of this is possible. And I think where it really begins, Katie, is understanding your cost per application and how to reduce that so that you can be buying within a budget, and then ultimately ensuring that you're buying the right stuff.
Yeah.
And what we know is that when salons start off with Vish, the cost per application on average for services is like $12 to $15 per stylist. We can get them down to about $5 to $6. And so imagine what that does to your inventory budget if you can literally, have your spend on an individual service. So now you're buying within a budget, you're buying the right stuff, and you're able to look at where else can we be spending? What retail opportunities are we not taking on because we didn't think we had the cash flow? What services can we start adding? Because we know that obviously treatments are a huge incremental revenue generator that salons are often afraid to, try and take on because, again, they don't have that upfront capital to do that. And then ultimately, better education for our team so that they can continue to offer more specialized services that have a higher ticket value associated to them.
Yeah, and may I suggest humbly, as salon owners, that you can put some of that in your pocket as well. And here's why: the average salon in the US is a 3% profit margin. Now, I know many of you listening are very high functioning. You're very dialed in. You probably have a 10% profit margin or higher, and you've really dialed in on your inventory. This is just going to make this exponentially better. And automation is key because if things take less time and they're accurately handled for you, there's savings in other areas like guest services and management costs. So I think that is so smart. What kind of success stories do you have? Like, you now work with thousands of salons with teams. What kind of like average savings do these salons experience using Vish?
Well, what we know is that most salons are well above a 10% cost of goods. So if you look at your services performed, and what percentage of your cost of goods is allocated to those services, it's usually close to 15%. Sometimes it's over 20%. Coaches will typically recommend that you stay around 5%. And Vish salons are usually, the optimal Vish salon would find itself around 3% cost of goods. So what that ladders up to at the end of the year is, like you said, most salons, first of all, are not generating a profit. Profitable salons, the top salons in our industry, are at about 3%. Vish salons are doing upwards of 10% profit per year.
Wow.
So depending on, what your service revenue looks like, it's typically about 10 to 20% incremental new revenue over what you're doing. And we can help you save anywhere between 20 to 40% of your back bar costs that can then again be reinvested to look at other areas of the business where you want to be more profitable, giving your team, any number of opportunities when it comes to healthcare, insurance, education, increasing your commissions, and of course, ensuring that you're building the culture that makes people want to stay in your salon. Because what we know is the number one revenue generator in your salon is always going to be having butts in your chair. And if you don't have service providers to provide the services or the marketing machine to help draw these people in, which is of course where Maya comes in, then really you're dead in the water. It's not just about the profit and revenue with Vish. It's about reinvesting that to make sure that you're incrementally gaining year over year through those investments.
I know a salon who uses Vish and literally had so much saved cash, they were able to open another location. So, for everybody listening who's like, gosh, you know what? I've been hearing about this in my heart, my gut. I think we need to do it. What are the first steps that owners can take to begin really learning more about Vish and starting this process of implementing Vish?
Yeah, great question. So if you go to getvish.com or check us out on Instagram, Vish Salons, you can follow through to calculate your profit exercise. And it really just asks you a couple of simple questions. You know, how many chairs do you have? What's your average spend on color? And it will show you the opportunity that you're missing out on. And then from there, when you work with our team, we can actually do a in-depth color profit assessment with you to help you understand where are you losing money in your color bar. We can almost always find you a way to recoup the cost of our subscription within the first month. And our commitment to you is that over the next year, we're going to get you a 10 to 20 times return on your investment. So it doesn't matter if you're an independent or if you're an enterprise salon, everybody, it's really just a matter of scale. So everybody is losing proportionally the same amount of money or has the same amount to gain per client. So whether you're seeing 100 clients a month or 100,000, it's really just scaling up that opportunity. And our goal, like you said, is really to put people in a position where they can say, I've left my suite and I've opened up my own brick and mortar location with a team, or I've now been able to open up a second location, if that's something that they want. And if not, maybe it's just making them more profitable so that every drop of color is equally profitable. Every service, whether it's your money making blonding services or the services you traditionally lose money on, like a toner, we want to make sure that all of that is equally profitable for the salon.
Yeah, and really what you're saying is we want owners to have the freedom and flexibility to make new decisions that they wouldn't be able to make without that extra freed up cash. So I just love that you're here today to talk about that. What would be some final words of encouragement for everybody listening today?
I would say it's been a really tough year. We kept hearing from salon owners and then from manufacturers and distributors what a soft year it had been, even as early as like February or March. And so we started to look at the data, and we wanted to know, like, are guests really stretching out their appointments? Are sales really down? What we discovered was that the average guest in the Vish system was in fact stretching out their appointment between 2023 and 2024. The average number of days between guest visits went up by about a week. And so at the end of that year, you've not only lost out on possibly one or maybe even more visits, but also you have to think about the fact that if that guest does come in and they need the same amount of hair color as they would throughout that year, for their root coverage, you're now paying out of pocket more money. Your cost of goods for that service is actually going to be higher, and you're seeing them less often. So you're really being hit on both ends. And so I guess my advice would be, first of all, take a deep breath. We're going into 2025. I think things are going to be okay, but make sure that as your costs go up, that you're responding to those price increases. Make sure that when you're charging your guest, you're not giving away 50% of that in commission every time you do a price increase, but that you're actually finding a way to make sure that your cost of goods is increasing proportionate to what you're being charged by your manufacturer distributor. And ultimately, that if that guest is stretching out their appointment, that's not on you. Your profitability should not be in flux because of your guests changing behaviors. You need to ensure that every single service maintains the same amount of profitability, regardless of the cost of goods or the stylist or guests' habits. And that's really what we want to make available to the entire industry.
Okay, there's only one thing I'm going to disagree with, and I'm going to tie it to this. There's two things that we need to start and one thing we need to stop. And this will be great as we're about to enter into 2025. You need to start using Vish You need to get more butts in the chairs, which is Maya, because if your guests are stretching out your visit, you need more guests to make a full book for your team. But you need to
1000%.
stop promoting lived in color. We have done this to ourselves. You all know what I mean, but I love you. And that's why I'm giving you this advice. So we're on the same page. Well, I just appreciate you being here to take your time to share this incredible technology solution with all of us. Thank you so much and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you so much for having me, Katie. And we look forward to seeing everybody succeed in 2025.
Absolutely, as do we. And I appreciate you all joining us here week after week. 2025, we're going to get lit. We're going to have so much fun. I can't wait for next week's episode. Until then, everybody, have an awesome day and stay strong.